16 seasons, 16 NCAA tournament teams. But which Mark Few Gonzaga team is the best? We have fans and experts debate, moderated by author Jess Walter. It's a discussion for the ages, or at least 16 more years until Few has a round of 32.
Welcome. This is the Mark Few Sweet 16. In 16 seasons, Mark Few's teams have never failed to qualify for the NCAA tournament. But for fans, it always brings up the question, which team is the best? How does this team stack up against teams from the past? So we've got an expert panel here. I can't imagine semi-expert. I can't imagine people who could answer this question more than this group of people. Jim Meehan, who is the beat writer for the Spokesman-Review covering Gonzaga. Tom Hudson, the voice of the Zags for KGA 1510. We have Jeff Brown, 1994 graduate of GU, and you were all WCC, weren't you?
Again, Jess, that was way
before
Gonzaga. Hey, let's go a step above that. How about Playboy All-American?
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. I got you.
Playboy All-American, right. And John Blanchette, sports
also a Playboy All-American.
Yes. The one subscribed to Playboy. The columnist for the Spokesman-Review, and Stephanie Vigil, anchor for KHQ.
So, you know what? I'm just the token.
We're all tokens of one thing or another here. So we're just going to start from the beginning. We have all these teams matched up, seeded by another expert committee, and we'll go game by game, match these teams against one another. We might have some time travel paradoxes where a guy as a freshman has to play against himself as a junior, and we'll just have to cross those bridges when we
Would that
come
be
to
Pangos?
Pangos might be there. We might have some Elias Harris sightings.
Yes.
So we're just going to start with the Northern Quest Epic Sports Region. Northern Quest, the sponsor of this first region. So the very first matchup we have is the 2005-2006 team against the 2010-2011 team. So 05-06 finished 29-4, lost to UCLA 73-71 in the Sweet 16. That's a heartbreaking
I don't
game.
remember that game.
Yeah, it was totally unmemorable. Led by J.P. Batista, Adam Morrison. This was an amazing team. So who wants to get us started? And then 2010-2011, 25-10, lost to BYU in the second round. Sacre, Harris, Gray. I would probably go with this team because Gray was in a play. And my kids are in drama. So, but I'm not the expert. You guys are. You want to pipe in? Jim, were you covering the team then?
I covered the 2011 team.
Yeah.
Actually, when they won their first round matchup, we were kind of thinking BYU would be a pretty good second round matchup.
Yeah.
And they got beat by 22, so we were all wrong there.
Right.
This game, I think that the 06 team, with that inside power with Batista, Morrison, good guard play, I think they probably knock off the 2011s.
Was this the first GU team that was, that highly ranked? It seems like this was the one that everyone thought was going to do the most damage.
I think it was the first team that had the recognition that people maybe finally thought, okay, Gonzaga belongs there. I think some of those other teams, and we're going to talk about them, you go to, like Dan Dickau's senior year, where, they just kind of all of a sudden they kept winning. It was almost by attrition. They kept winning. Other teams kept losing. They ended up number 3 in the country, and I think people thought, what the heck is going on? How is Gonzaga up there at number 3? And I think with Adam and the star power and leading the nation in scoring, and with JP as good as he was, I think was maybe the first time that it was that highly ranked that people thought, hey, this is a Gonzaga team that, has a chance of maybe making that run to the Final Four. I think I like the 05-06 team too. Those guys were they were fun to watch.
But you got to lose points for the mustache, don't you?
No, you get points for the mustache.
Star power,
Yes.
rock star power.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that win over Michigan State, that triple overtime win, which was, you just kept thinking they weren't going to win that game. It felt like this was a team that could push through.
Yeah. I had to go change shirts 3 times during that gym. It was so steamy in that gym.
Oh, you were covering that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Tough duty, right?
it was tough. It was really hard, and I've never let them forget that they sent me over there to do that.
to the Maui Classic.
Awful, awful.
Well, there's air conditioning in there now, John,
Yeah.
so complain enough and maybe you get sent back there.
Yeah, the thing about the 2011 team is that so many of these guys you've got them before they develop. Olynyk is just a sophomore at that point. Sam Bauer's a freshman, and Elias is a sophomore. So they're not quite where they're going to be, and that's probably why they don't. Although they're really some of their rating numbers, if you go back with the computer stuff, it really wasn't too bad and compares pretty favorably. So.
Yep, I would agree with John. You take a look at that, and as of 2 days ago, there's now 3 pros on that team.
I know, right? Yeah.
Between Stockton and Olynyk and Zachary.
Yeah.
But going back to 05,
Yeah.
Morrison he was the player of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He was so good and so clutch, and JP Batista was so effective inside. And his body and was able to go play with anybody in the country. That was a really, really good team. I remember being at that game, and for 37 minutes, they were putting a beat down on UCLA. There was no point that I ever thought about this game's in question. And obviously it was a tragic, awful ending, but that was a really, really, really good team that lost to UCLA, who ended up going to the Final Four.
Right.
And we all know history there, but Morrison was such an unbelievable college basketball player. He was really, really special.
Well, I don't even see how you match these two teams together, because if you look at the 05-06, their cards they have nothing but determination on their faces. And look at the 10 and the 11, laying it up, So
right.
I
love
think
it.
the 05-06, just because
All
their
right.
cards look a little more
Well,
serious.
we'll pretend there's some drama. So pull out your whiteboards and write down the team you think would win. There are extra pros on there. My wife always liked that 05-06 team because she used to see JP Batista at Mass. So they would have that going for them too.
We're going sideways, we're going up top, we're going
I think
go over here.
horizontally. Yeah. So write down. Let's see if there's a big shock here.
Are you
think you're
playing
all-
Jeopardy?
I think you're all underestimating Marquise Carter. All right, let's see what we got.
Who are we showing?
Oh, it's unanimous.
Oh, yeah.
05.
Where are we showing? That's a really good
Double
question,
overtime,
actually. The camera or
Yeah,
desk?
show the
You're
camera.
the only one that's watching right now.
I honestly don't care. Just show the camera. All right, so
Unanimous?
that's unanimous.
Yeah.
5-0. All right, we have game 1 in the bag.